I'm here with UFC legend BJ Penn, Hall of Famer, 2-division champion. I mean, anyone that watches fighting is going to know who you are. At first, hey, thanks for coming in. It's awesome that you stopped by.
Thank you, Jake.
Yeah,
respect here, man. You're always a beast, and thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, that's what's great with the fight industry. You know, my podcast is new, and all the legends like you are swinging by. It's all these relationships I've built over the years. Amazing. So,
thank you. Right, and we can.
Yeah. So we're probably going to talk about a bunch of subjects, but I wanted to dive right in. Something I haven't heard you talk much about. Well, first you got a black belt. Was it 3 years? Is that true? Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Well, I always say the best surfer is the one having the most fun, and right. That's why you did it, because you enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
you enjoy it. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, so when you got the black belt that fast, what were you doing? Were you just training like nonstop every day?
No, I was training all the time. I guess, you know, because we were just talking about how tough Half's gym was and everything. Yeah. And like, you tell yourself you're having fun, but you're really in there with animals like Dave and Dan.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't, because you don't know, he trained at Half Gracie's, which was just hardcore. At the time, it was the best sport jiu-jitsu team.
It really was, right?
And I was at Caesar Gracie's, which was the best jiu-jitsu team doing
MMA stuff.
Which is unfortunate, because they were like, I actually live where you guys live, but at the time, Caesar and Half weren't cool, so we couldn't cross-train, so I could never go and train with you guys, which really sucked. But later in my career, I went by and trained by Half, and he was still just a lunatic. I like the guy, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking crap about him, but he's a scary dude. I don't need to tell you.
He's a beast. Yep, he really is. He's really I always think, and I always say, like, his legacy, like one of the baddest motherfuckers that ever walked the earth. Really, he really was. I mean,
that team, the sports team, was like you, Cameron Earl, Dave Camarillo, and just savages.
I remember one time Frank Shamrock came in to grapple for the day, and then his Half cleared the match. It was just Half and Frank just going all out. It was an unbelievable match. Unbelievable.
No,
just back and forth, and I wasn't afraid. And Shamrock was huge at that time. That's like right when he was like beat Tito and stuff. I mean, it was right when the sport was about ready to blow up, but still was getting held back until the Ultimate Fighter, I would say, right? That's when it
really blew up. Yeah, you were.
No matter what.
Yeah, you were kind of in that phase. I mean, you were the first guy that really pushed the popularity in the 155-pound division, helped blow it up. I mean, you're one of the guys that helped make the change, which is pretty cool. I just want to go back to House real quick. I said you got a black belt in 3 years, but you also didn't just get a black belt. You won the world championships. So it's not like you just got a black belt in that time. You were the best in the world, and that's completely unheard of. Were you the first American to win?
I was the first American to win the Mundial, the IBJJF. And I remember we were just talking about it today, because they got that Jiu Jitsu tomorrow, right, or whatever. But we were talking about how they used to have the selectives or the Selechiva in the gyms themselves, right? And that is more scary than the Mundial, than the competition, because you're just like, you know, it's because you come over for like a month for the training, and you know all the people, but it's still like, you know, it's the home gym, right? It's all for all the guys in Rio versus all the guys in all around Brazil and around the world, actually, in the selective or whatever, right? To select where you're going to sit in the tournament. Yeah. So, I mean, that was, And
they didn't want Americans winning in that time. They did not want the first American champ. They were not happy. The refs, I'm sure, were not in your favor.
Man, well, just in the selective, it's just because it's just a bunch of like home teams, you know what I mean? So everybody's just kind of going for they all fly to Rio for the chance to compete in the world. So it was kind of every team for themselves, kind of, right? But it was fun though. The camaraderies you build in that, right?
We have a brotherhood.
You know them for the rest of your life.
Yeah, all around the world, I know people, you know, that have my back. And even I can go to places where I don't know them, jiu-jitsu people will take us in. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, we're good jiu-jitsu, but I think even the people who train jiu-jitsu overall, they'll get shown around like everywhere we go in the world. It's pretty amazing.
You know what? You see, I gotta take advantage of that more, going in, meeting people around the world, and
I've done that a lot. I'm pretty adventuresome. I've get people who hit me up, like I'll see them somewhere on IG and they'll hit me up, like, hey, I want to show you around. I'm like, sure. Just maybe not the smartest is go with strangers, crazy hikes in the middle of nowhere, and like in
But if you're
Peru
Jake
or wherever.
Shields, you're
Yeah,
fine. If
they're
you're
trying to give me ayahuasca. The next thing I know,
Jake Shields is fine.
The slums in the Dominican Republic that's like all black. They're taking me through. The guys in there are like, you're gonna get killed. I'm like, no, these guys respect me. I can tell. They want to show me the gym they built in the hood.
Yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, it's pretty amazing. I just want to touch back to House again real quick,
Okay.
just because I know how crazy he was later.
Yeah.
How were the training sessions there? Was he just on you guys?
Yeah, you know what? He did you warm up for half an hour and then you do pass guard drill for 45 minutes. 45 minutes pass guard drill. You really did learn the essence of the jiu-jitsu because that's really what it is. Two guys going at it. Can one guy pass?
True.
Can one guy turn him over or finish it, right? And then you stay, if you sweep them or tap them, you stay inside. And the new guy, that's one of the best drills ever for the history of the sport, the pass guard drill.
I couldn't agree more. A lot of the new guys, they
is.
just chase leg locks. So a lot of these new fighters can't even pass guard. Or the new jiu-jitsu guys are just like sitting on their butt trying to leg lock. And I like leg locks too, but it's like you better learn to pass guard. And some of these new guys aren't.
You can hold them down is why. I mean, it's just different things.
What do you
right?
think of the new jiu-jitsu guys? Like obviously the Gordon
you know
Ryans
what? I mean, I guess they had to start doing it. They had to start adapting and picking up other things, or they would start losing in the sport jiu-jitsu. And it's amazing how jiu-jitsu does just kind of, it really does swallow different people, right? It's like now they're doing leg locks and they're doing it with a little bit of a jiu-jitsu twist, but now I mean, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu, you have to put your own touch on anything. It's like, it's so creative, which is why they call it an art. So you gotta take it and put your own art. Like we can have the same instructor, but we're not going to, our styles are still going to be different. We might have similarities, but they're still going to be different.
You're kind of like your own instructor because it's like you'll take the move or you don't take the move. It's really up to you if you're going to do the move or not.
I think there's definitely instructors are a lot better than others. Like we're talking about, how, Cesar Gracie, John Donahue, but it's also, it's you as an artist have to know what you take. And,
Right? Because it's what moves you can see and that you gravitate to that you're like, okay, maybe I'll be able to do this when somebody does this. Type of thing.
But no, it's such an amazing sport. So when you started fighting, you went from House and you went to, which was AKA you went to, or what happened? What was the transfer?
Oh, well, Nova Niao, we were training over there, jiu-jitsu. We were staying in Hawaii more at that time. And then after the World Championships, well, I met Dana before that. I met Dana and Lorenzo. John Lewis took me, he was giving them private lessons. So I met Dana and Lorenzo, and they ended up buying the UFC. But at that time, Dana was Chuck Liddell and Tito's manager, I remember.
Yeah, that's how I met those guys, through Chuck Liddell.
Right? Chuck Liddell and Tito's manager. And then, they got the UFC. And then I think I was supposed to fight like in the King of the Cage against like Uno. I was supposed to be me and Uno in the King of the Cage, but Uno ended up fighting Pulver for the belt, and then I ended up fighting Joey Gilbert.
Yeah, and you blew up in the UFC quick. I think because you were already so known from jiu-jitsu. I remember there was so much hype you came in. Was it Uno that you knocked out and just sprinted out of the cage?
Yeah,
that was wow, this guy's the real deal.
Well, those fights they got me a lot of people to see them, but I didn't get much experience in fighting. And then I fought Jens.
Yeah, Jens was tough.
Yeah, and then Jens was good, man. And after that, I started to, I think I had, who did I fight? I fought a couple more fights in the UFC, and then I fought the rematch with Uno. I fought Sarah, then Uno, but that's kind of, you got to get time inside the ring to learn.
You do experience it. That's what happens. Sometimes you get these young guys that are hyped so much and they haven't had
That's what happened to
yet.
me.
Like, what's like some of these, they might be amazing fighter, but they don't have ring experience yet. And that's like, you have all this hype and you're like, oh crap, I have this pressure, but you don't have the ring experience yet.
Yeah, and you're supposed to win and go out there, but you don't really know how. You're just happy you won.
Yeah, right. It's crazy walking out to a fight, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing crazier than the thing of walking out being like, holy crap, I'm about to fight another human in a cage with potentially millions of people watching some of our bigger fights.
Right.
When you fought Nick Diaz, GSP, you fought the who's who.
Man.
That's where everyone loves you, I think, because you're willing to fight whoever. You always stepped up to fight anyone. You even fought at 205 versus Lyoto Machida, another UFC champ. You're a 55 pounder. That's like insane.
Man, but it's how much fun you're having, right? It's just, I mean, just like when you're up there fighting with Dan Henderson and everybody, it's how much fun you're out there. You're having a good time, and
I love the Henderson fight because everyone thought I was going to lose. So I'm like, all right, you think I'm going to lose? I'm not going to lose.
That's impressive. That's impressive, really, really, Jake. What an impressive. I mean, just to be in the ring with the guy. Right?
But you know what it is? Like, that was a point in my career when I just felt unstoppable. So it was like I could just run through anyone in my mind.
When
like,
you knew you were
fighting
fighting him, when you knew you had the fight, you knew you won, right?
Yeah, there's
already.
a point I think both of our careers we probably had where we just knew we were going to go in there and win. And then, we get distractions with fame, money, life.
Man.
When you're in that state, you can't be beat. I know you've been in that state before.
Sabotage squad.
Right? Yeah. But life is tough, but you can get out of that state. But when you're in that state, if you're just on a mission, it's a good feeling.
It really is, though. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy sport. So the UFC, you left the UFC for a short time period. Was there a falling out with Dana or?
Well, we fought for the. I guess it was just so happened when we, unbeknownst to nobody knew, but we fought the Matt Hughes fight because I kind of felt like I was starting to come into my prime around the Gomi fight, and when you hear like you got the fight, you're gonna win, you're gonna do good, right?
That's what you
kind of thing.
You don't want to hear. That's when you don't want to start hearing that,
right? Yep. So we finally, because I lost to Jens, and then I had the draw with Uno, and then kind of we fought a couple more fights, but we got the Matt Hughes fight. We fought Gomi, and then we got the.
When you fought Matt Hughes, that's when he was like unbeatable, right?
That's when I felt it. You know what I mean? When you know in your mind, as soon as you signed the contract, you knew already.
That guy was a savage when you fought him.
You knew what you were gonna do as soon as you signed. I know you've been there.
Yeah.
So, all of that, like, but I wasn't under contract. After when I went to look back at the contract, everybody slipped by everybody. We weren't under contract, and I could have. I fought for like 25 and 20, but back then there was no money though. There wasn't
the money was bad, but you were a star still. I'm sure you're being underpaid if you're making that low money. You were still, there was no money in the sport, but you were one of the few stars still, even early. Not necessarily a star, but like a small star.
Well, I guess like a mainstay, I guess, in UFC. But
So it was a money dispute. So
it was so we ended up in Japan, but Japan was paying good money. Couldn't believe the money they were paying.
Right.
Yep. It was.
No. Fighting Japan was such a crazy, surreal experience too, right? Like.
Yep.
It
was 25 and 25 or 375 flat.
Yeah, so like you're gonna take the 375 flat.
Yeah.
No, it sucks. Like I actually went to the UFC late because I was making a lot more money than the UFC kept offering me. So it's kind of frustrating. You get guys like, oh, when do you think you make it to the UFC? But I was getting a lot better money. It's Strike Force and Elite XC, and in Japan, so it's like I had to take a pay cut to go to the UFC. Eventually, I took the pay cut because it's like you want the name, but it sucks having to take a pay cut to go to the premier organization in the world.
Right.
But speaking of that, like, was it your brother that's mostly running a fight organization? He launched Rumble in the Rock. You're part of that too, right? That was.
I mean, we were kind of. I mean, and he was the guy behind it with all the black and white and the numbers and everything, but.
But no, that was amazing promotion.
It was
I was fighting. I had a few fights there.
Yeah,
there was that tournament.
It was,
I was so
right
broke at the time. I thought I was rich
won
after
the tournament.
I won that. It was like 50K
you had
or
to
something, but I was like so bored at the time.
You had to easily be one of the top 2 or 3 in the world if you won that tournament.
Dude, that tournament was,
and he won it. He won
savage,
the whole thing.
Bro. Shit was
unbelievable.
Like Anderson Silva was
savage.
in there, like Carlos Condon.
Right.
I think 2 fights in a night, like Dave Monet. It was stacked, and it was like. But yeah, that was the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna go in there and win this easy.
Yeah, that's how when you know, right? Mm-hmm. When you know, you know.
But yeah, fighting was massive in Hawaii. We'd go out there, it would sell out arenas before it was like.
And those regulations, those regulative bodies, that's what slowed it down. That was crazy.
That would happen to Hawaii? Is that why the fighting isn't...
Even giving water was, you couldn't even give the amateurs water because that was like payment.
Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy. There's such a fight culture in Hawaii. Like, what is up with the fight culture there? It's like everyone loves to fight. They love fighters. The first couple times I went there, I got in some fights, but now they love me. I'm like a star in Hawaii. I can't imagine, you must be like an absolute star in Hawaii. Like, like a god out there.
It's good to see all the people though.
No, it's cool.
For sure.
No, I like it out there, but people love to fight. Like, is that just a culture thing?
I think everybody was always into fighting.
And they'll just square up and scrap too. They got honor there. If you disrespect someone, like you're fighting.
Yeah, they always were into fighting, from boxing to watching fighting movies to
I've seen some
fighting movies is a big part of anything.
Right? Culture.
Right.
I saw some fight videos. It was like street fights in Hawaii, and the dudes all know how to box. It's hilarious. Like everyone scraps out there.
And they were going right from
they're like so
mixed martial artists or something.
It's just such a scrap culture. But no, I get treated amazing in Hawaii, funny. Especially like maybe not before I started fighting, but now I can go to the areas where white people aren't supposed to go. And is it still like that, or has that died down a little bit? The areas where white people aren't supposed to head off to and stuff. It seems like it's pretty safe now.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, and everybody. I think it's pretty relaxed.
Seems like it's changing. It is. Even because I can see the difference from like 20 years when first going there to like people. It's just so mixed culturally now that.
And yeah, it is. It's man, I really makes you wonder all of the history, right? The history just of anywhere's history, man. If there's fake news now, imagine the history.
I couldn't agree more.
Imagine the fake history.
Like you don't even know what's true, what's not.
Like, you don't know nothing.
The whole human timeline, even and stuff. You start being like, is that off?
Right?
We don't really know much.
That's what's crazy about it. Really is. I mean, it's really something. I mean, all history, right?
Well, like how do people get to those little islands out there? They say they just traveled off in some boats, but that's not very believable.
Right? And this, like, man, I always say, I mean, just took even a lot of the Hawaiian language. I mean, you can kind of you could really look at it and pick it apart and say, like, it's the original pidgin or something. It's almost like the native Hawaiian language is like the original pidgin. If you really look at it, the words, and look at the word, you'll just be like, those are like words from every other language kind of just mixed in,
Yeah, no, that's what happened in Hawaii because there's so many different cultures, different languages.
It was always
all kind
there.
Of merges. At first, I could barely understand people. I'm like, you like scraps, bro? Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Then you start figuring it out if you go there.
And that's what even all of it is, and it's really interesting. You got to wonder you just got to wonder that about anywhere, though.
No, but anywhere, all history. You start digging into human history, and you're just like, oh, none of it really. The timelines don't really match up.
But you gotta,
Well, kind of perfect example is they say that humans came across and walked through, and they came into North America, but all the most advanced civilizations were in South America. So that doesn't really quite add up. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you look. I was recently down in Peru, and like all the architecture and stuff down there, it just doesn't match up what could have been done with, like, they say it was done with like jade and no will, and you're like, there's no way this stuff was built like that. I just don't believe it.
Man, it's interesting, right? It's interesting. I mean, I always try to follow the words because I always say, the words, but like, I mean, if I always say like Moscow in Mexico is like the same word. Like if they went over there to build the second Moscow and their DNA traces back or whatever to Siberia, if they went over to build the second Moscow, and they did, and that's Mexico City, Moscow and Mexico, like Moscow, Mexico, or whatever.
Yeah.
So who did Andrew Jackson fight to win the West? Was Russia or just the guys over there? Makes you wonder, though.
Yeah, right. No, the whole history.
Because they bought Alaska, they bought Oregon. Was that the peace treaty? And just...
Yeah, I want to bring some historians on and do some deep dive. I haven't done enough dives into all these like alternative topics, but it's definitely interesting. And it's people think it's like crazy at first, but like we're supposed to just believe the official narrative. Like you said earlier, we look at the news, it's completely fake, and we're supposed to look at history and be like, oh, this is all true.
It's misinformation for nothing. But I guess when you get into a fight, what's the number one thing you got to do? Keep them guessing. Keep them guessing. What's he gonna do next? Is he gonna jab me? Is he gonna kick me? Right, that's what they do to us, They're freaking good.
Manipulate we watch them manipulate the news. So why wouldn't the same people manipulate our history? And people act like that's crazy to say that, but it's crazy
real.
not to think that.
Imagine if, because if that is Moscow and Mexico, like you took a bunch of people from wherever their DNA says from Siberia or whatever. Put them over there, tell them they're Native Americans. There's only a few because the white man came and made you guys sick. You guys, from coughing on you guys, all you guys died and then threw you on the reservation. You might see how you'd be doing after.
Yeah, right. You know, they
I mean,
want
who
people,
knows?
they want
Yeah.
people defeated.
Well,
and
who knows
thinking
what
like,
happens to the Hawaiians then? You know, if you'd say that, when did they come over? Because it was the Sandwich Islands. So, because who was the first king of Hawaii? If they say Hawaii was in 1842, it became a kingdom, and then that would have been King Kamehameha III. So, is he the first then? But even if the first did exist, he was the king of the Sandwich Islands. So it just makes you wonder. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, the whole,
you know,
Hawaii is so far and isolated out there. It's like that's a long trip to have taken some of these islands. It's interesting. Like well, speaking of Hawaii, slightly change the subject, but like you obviously love it because you tried running for governor, right? It's awesome. You did that because they need to change because people that run our politics are obviously complete scum. We need guys that aren't for sale.
But like the guys, you know, when I ran for governor, I really didn't learn too much because it was just kind of like open your businesses. It was about freedom and stuff. And I learned, of course, you always want to learn more about that. But when I ran for county council, that's when I really learned about, you know, because I really got to sit back and look at the economy and just think about it and look at all these guys' answers. Just kind of laughed like this. But I mean, I learned so much though. Man, you learn who's your friends, you learn who's everybody through it, all of that stuff, you know what I mean? And it's better to have a strong contact is better than a weak friend. Because a true friend stabs you in the front. A weak friend doesn't have the guts, you know what I mean? So he's going to be going from the back, but it is what it is. But I learned so much through that. If Hawaii's got 1.4 million people, how do you make 1.4 million people rich overnight? Drop the price. That's an economy. You think, oh, how are you going to better the economy? Oh, more jobs, more this. But like, take Hilo. The guy's got a break wall over there. Say you put 10 casino boats in there, a marijuana industry, NASCAR track on the other side by the lava fields by Waikoloa, a soccer stadium over there, or whatever you do, all these things, it's just going to be more traffic, more crowds, and more crime. Why? Because it's the cost of living. Instead of one truck stuck in the mud, you're going to have thousands of trucks stuck in the mud because they all got to pay up to this. You got to cut this down, just like Al Pacino's speech. You find out life's a game of inches. And you gotta when you add up all those fucking inches, that's going to make the fucking difference between winning and losing, between living and dying. It's this side. Always is this side, you know? And that's there. Because you'll be like, oh, well, what's your solution to the homeless problem? And you got to look at them and say, well, you guys want to house them for the evening? Let's just take them to Hilo Hawaiian Hotel. If you guys want to fix homelessness, you want to fix the problem, tell me, how can there be a housing problem and a homeless problem at the same time? Who made who? Did the homeless make this housing problem? Because Hawaii has one problem. It's called cost of living. And everything else is a symptom. Everything else. I'm homeless, crime, poverty, depression, you know what I mean? All because of the cost of living. And you cannot fix the economy with more jail, more drug rehab, more crazy pills. That's not how you fix the economy, but that's why you could get the 10 smartest people in the world. They won't even be able to figure out Hilo's homeless problem because it's not a problem. It's a symptom. This is the problem over here. This is the problem of everything. And you can fix 99% of the dog's problems by slapping the owner, not the dog. You know, it's one of those things.
The homeless, I was in San Francisco for a while, and the homeless is terrible there. And there was some point, early on, I was like, I actually, volunteered to help work for some of those organizations that were raising money, trying to help the homeless. And I realized they weren't trying to help it. They just wanted to make money for themselves. And they were just spending it, doing nothing for the homeless. They want the homeless to get worse. Because they just keep getting more and more money.
And you wonder how much really there are homeless and how much they're just agent sitting there to just drop the property value or whatever
No,
it is.
yeah, San Francisco, they want them there. They give them free and cheap drugs. They don't try to like do anything to fix them. They just want to like leave them there to cause problems.
And that's what they got. Like, because right, the left pulled so hard to the left that it pulled the right to the center. But you don't fix far left by going back far right. You just got to sit right here on the center. You know what I mean? And it's instead of like, because you see, of course, we're going to want Trump with his past record over Kamala's. But you really got to look at it instead of left and right. You got to look at it as in the political spectrum, more accurate, like total government and no government. No government is lawless. Total government is like communism, nationalism, fascism, or whatever, right? The total government stuff. And you got to try to sit, right, somewhere in the, because like how they talking now, if you burn the flag, you go to jail for a year. That's too much. That's total government.
Yeah, I mean, in the Constitution, we have a right of free speech. I don't agree with burning the flags, but that's literally our First Amendment right is literally that we can't do that. That's why I love America.
It's just scumbags that are going to do it, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, like if you might not like what they say, but you got to fight for the right for them to
That's the whole point of free speech. It's people that we don't agree with. If it's easy to give free speech people you agree with, it's when they don't agree.
Yeah. But then you know what it is it's the freaking intelligence. It's just the freaking guys. Just that's who it's only guy is gonna be. You're gonna see burning it on TV is gonna just be
trying to
an intelligence guy. That's who it is. It's not a normal guy.
No, yeah, a lot of
that's the only problem.
Agent provocateurs. So yeah, what made you get into politics?
Well, what happened was the sabotage squad just kept sabotaging me, and I was like, you know what? That's enough. They kind of did from a couple angles. They said, I'm just gonna run already. But I mean, they closed when everything was going on. I was like, this is a good reason to run. And they were closing all the businesses and everybody's
during COVID
stuff. They were. But like, I guess, kind of had like a little bit of a civil war in Hawaii.
Yeah, right.
With us running against, this is all our friends and family anyway, but it was, you know what? But what I learned is just head over heels, just the difference, But you know what? I had so much fun running and I learned so much. I feel like if you could ask me any question, if it's to do with Hawaii, I feel like I kind of feel it's just, right, jump in the car, drive down the road, count how many junk, crappy, worthless trees you can count until you see one tree with food. Not an accident. The political strategy, they keep us hungry, and the food is what it is that a 1% increase of food insecurity is a 13% increase in violent crime. If somebody did all their drugs or whatever they're going to do, and they looked over and it was like the best mango they've ever seen in their life, the best strawberries, think about it. Nothing's going to happen. But like on the African safari, like if they're just fighting over mating, then they'll walk away after the fight. But when people get hungry, people get murdered, people get freaking, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting because too, like in fighting, so many fighters have kind of been pushed into I guess they say right wing. I guess it's, to me, I don't like these labels that much.
Right.
Because I never really paid that much attention to politics. I think most of us were the same. But I think COVID's kind of the one that drove us into it, really, because when they shut everything down, and it's like, that was when I first started retiring.
Got us in.
Yeah, I had nothing to do. It's like, I got to stand up to this insane. I got to start speaking up.
Insanity.
And using my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how we didn't realize like how crazy, because there's no woke bullshit in the gym. It's like you're fighting each other.
Yeah, you don't see it at the gym.
There's no racism really there. Like people, it doesn't matter if you're fighting someone of a different
color. You don't even have time for that shit.
Yeah, so it's like, they don't try to punch you in the head. You don't care if they're black, white, Asian. They're trying to beat your ass.
That's why I remember it's kind of like some like plants like in like the political arena in Hawaii, and the guy was like, they made the land use department because they were racist and this and that. And I was like, no, they made the land use department to fucking starve you. You can't even have time to fucking think about being racist. You're fucking hungry. You fucking, that's what all of that stuff
I think
is.
It was pushed to divide us.
They starve you. Yep. They cannot, if you just took, because I always would say air from the earth, the air, right? Water from the well, and food from the tree, that's from God. Like, freaking right. That really came. It's like, that's supposed to be everywhere, you would think. Then if you took the trees away, fucking put them back. Put the fucking trees back. You know? I mean, it's that simple,
sunshine,
right?
ocean. Well, that's what's crazy too. When they told you guys you couldn't go out surfing, right, in Hawaii because of COVID, like you can't go surf in the sun. That's like health for your health. You need that.
All of that stuff, right?
That's when you realize how insane the government was. At least for me, when they told me, yeah, you can't go to the beach, you can't do this, you can't go on hikes. Like what? These guys are insane.
But you see the guys at all the homeless guys that's sitting at the Ala Park. That's when I first knew there was this one park. There's a bunch of homeless people. It's right by Chinatown. I seen everybody, no PPE, no mask, people eating out of the garbage, doing fine. And that's when you know.
That's what, same thing in San Francisco. Everything was closed down. And then all the drug addicts were like having block parties. And I'm like, well, I can't go out, but these people can. Screw this. I don't do well sitting around doing nothing. I got to keep myself entertained or I'm going to lose my mind. You know, like fighters, we're all a little crazy. They're like, you can't train. Like, I need to train.
Right.
Like, yeah. So are you still training, speaking of, or not really?
I should train more. I try to train my daughters and stuff, but
yeah, no, that's awesome. They're training jiu-jitsu or
anything I can get them involved with. Just trying to nowadays, you just try to bond with them at some point, right?
Yeah, no, family. You get older and you realize how important family and kids and all that stuff is.
Yeah, I mean, your kids, as soon as they're born, they try to dig your eye out once they can. Then it never stops till you die. Till you die, it never stops.
But you know, it's family.
Oh yeah.
So I have an off the wall question. What's your not off the wall? What's your opinion on Hawaii? Should it be an independent country or a state? I know it's a big debate on Hawaii. In Hawaii,
you know, I guess, I mean, I heard there like the people trying to wrestle it away as like the United Nations. I'd rather be where we are. I'd rather stay here than be with the United Nations, as far as I know.
Excellent point.
You know what I mean? As far as I know, you know, but everybody's comes with their sides and their angles. But
yeah, I know.
I feel pretty safe here where I'm. But you know, I mean, you go through. I mean, after you run for politics and you really look into see what's going on, it's one of those things where, like, I mean, really, as long as you don't hurt anybody or don't steal anything, fuck all the other laws. Really, you gotta think about that at some point. You know what I mean? But I mean, it is what it is. Because I mean, if you're gonna ask me, I mean, if we're gonna talk serious, I mean, I was gonna say, I seen the candidates, I seen the election, I seen the politicians. You can't tell me every single thing is fit. But if you go too far in anything, you hurt somebody too much, or you take something from people, you're gonna. Doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter if it's a policeman or whoever it is. They're gonna come and they're gonna get you. Or if it's their family, right?
Right. Do you feel like the Hawaiian politicians are just as corrupt, just like the mainland ones? Are they, for the most part? Or,
I mean, you just have to look and. I mean, I'm a big time overthinker, so I'll just have to think that how these guys. I mean, I don't even believe that they're who they say they are. So it's just, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It seems politicians almost everywhere are absolute scum. There's a few exceptions. Absolutely. Like, I like Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii. I don't even know her.
Okay.
She's,
yeah.
hung out with her a few times. She's super cool.
Yeah.
She seems like a real person, not like a lizard person.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these people, they don't even seem like they're like Gavin Newsom and these guys. They don't even seem like they're human. Like, he used to be at my friend's gym. He'd be there working out, and I would never shake the guy's hand. I'd walk by, and my friend would be like, "Oh, dude, why won't you like shake his hand and stuff?" Like, I'm not going and talking to Gavin Newsom and pretending like I like that guy. He's like the sleaziest scum ever. I want like nothing to do with him. So you see these guys are just utter scum, and we need more people to step up.
Utter scum, man. We don't even know who they are. That's why they're not accountable to nothing. So, but then that makes you thinking you're in your side too. Like then don't, right? Just everybody knows the rules. Follow along. Don't do something stupid.
Yeah, we need more people to step up in politics. The problem is it's hard because you need to raise all this money, and then also like we don't even know what's real, and what's
that
not.
Money is that too, right?
Like our elections, I don't think we can say on YouTube if they're rigged or not, but who knows if they're real?
Fuck, and just like it's exactly like you're gonna. The money that you like give to the like you cannot write that off for nothing, right? It's like you straight up lose it. Yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's so hard to
It's
do these
amazing,
campaigns.
yeah.
People that are giving money are the big corporations or foreign nations or people that don't have the interest of America.
Yeah,
So it's not an easy fix, but we do need people, I think, to start
man.
to not give up, realize we can fix it. We need to go in. It's gonna
You
be
just gotta, I mean, it just depends how, because, I mean, really, doesn't matter if there's like Freemasons or whoever they say running everything or doing whatever they want, but you gotta talk. Everybody's feeling the cost of living. It's not just everyone inside the group and everyone outside the group is feeling it, both feeling the cost of living. And that's who you got to talk to. You got to talk to them because it's a real face underneath there. That's a real heart underneath there. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth.
The cost of the struggle, because like, you know,
The cost
I do
of the
pretty well. I know
struggle.
you do too. And we walk into the store and we look at these prices and we're like, do I want to buy that?
Fuck.
So, do you imagine people, you know,
$300,
like
$400 a bag of groceries. That's why when I ran, I was saying we need county farmers growing food for the people. If one fucking pirate ship stops one boat, we're all dead. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like,
That's right,
it's
'cause you have to ship
crazy.
things out to Hawaii,
You
so
know?
prices really go crazy out
Yeah,
there.
we don't know what could happen, you know? These people are crazy.
No, yeah, it makes sense to grow a lot more of your own food.
Yeah.
It's such great climate for all the fruits and
Like we used to have sugar cane back in the 80s and had all, it was like the whole island, like 50 miles. So if you did that same thing, sugarcane 50 miles, but you made it mango, lychee, freaking avocado, every single fruit, all the way down for 50 miles, you cut the cost of living down by multi billions already, you know?
it is
And
crazy.
you can
there's
still
not
go and
more.
sell,
Yeah.
but you'd have a bunch more pigs and a bunch more food running around because of all the food from the trees. But like I remember I was talking to one of the research and development people that sat next to me on the airplane one time, and they go, well, I don't like when, you know, you go past some houses and they don't even pull the fruit off their tree. They just let it sit there and rot. I go, do you feel the same way when it rains and the rain drops on the ground? You don't mind it, right? Because it's abundance. We need abundance. I was at the food bank and they're like, oh, we're at a 45% increase of food insecurity. And I go, well, a 1% increase is a 13% increase on violent crime. So what we have to do is we have to find out exactly how much food fills the 45% of food insecurity. And then we got to grow 10 times more than that. She fucking walks out and leaves. Because they're not there to help.
I never thought about it because Hawaii stuff just grows naturally, but there's not very many big farms now that I
on
think
purpose.
about it. That's so weird because there is a ton of empty land too.
90%.
So there's all these like big empty land everywhere.
90%.
I never thought about that.
90% of the
what's
food
their-
we bring in, because it's all artificial costs. Highest cost of living in the nation is Hawaii, and it's all artificial costs. The taxes, artificial. The buying 90% of the food from outside, artificial. Then they banned coal. Now we cannot use coal. Now the oil is expensive to bring in the oil. And what we got to do is use hydroelectric from those rivers. You know what I mean? They're trying to use solar, not powerful enough. And all the dust flies where it's sunny is where it's windy, you know what I mean, on those sides. And all the dust and everything gets on the solar. And we need hydroelectric. We need hydroelectric, and we need food. If you never have to worry, you have to ask yourself, you never have to worry about another meal again. Are you rich? Are you rich if you never have?
You're at least not stressing to feed your kids.
Yeah.
So I've been there when I was broke.
Well, like, so because that's right. The left is going to want the food lobby and keeping that, because that's fucking billions and trillions, that food lobby on that side. And in the right, they'll buy anything you fucking want. A road, a bridge, a nicest fucking bridge you ever saw, anything. But you put food in one person's mouth and you're a communist. No, I'm a businessman. That's not a good quote to have, but that's the most bang for your buck that you can get. We need county farmers growing food for the people. So much fucking food. Every fucking tree. Every tree got to be food. And all those wasted trees, all sitting around, those are all so they grow and the seeds fly on your property. They grow up into all these big trees. You cannot cut them down or farm anything anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
sure.
we don't want community gardens. That's not what we're saying, because like a lot of people come, like they throw plants in the crowd and they'd be like, oh, well, we don't want the government controlling our food. I go, you know what? For you guys, I'll get grants to get you guys, you guys can grow community gardens. I'll get you guys grants to do that. But the county farmer, that's for the person who works 8 hours a day, comes home, watches their kid for 4 hours, wakes up at 6 a.m. and does it again. We can't take our food away from our soldiers. These are the guys that they're out there growing the fucking.
Yeah. No, I think Hawaii has the most expensive food in the country, but they won't grow more. Instead, they want to yell right, left. They want to, like you said, call you a communist or this. Or.
That's what it is, right? It's who's the best businessman, because you kind of get stuck in the middle. You gotta go freaking. You gotta move while you're punching.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to be creative, try to do new ways. If something's not working that you're doing, like in fighting, we adapt and do something new, you know? If you're like, something's not working, you figure out a way to stop it. If someone keeps jabbing me, I'm going to start slipping.
Right? And when fully understood, not when partially understood, not when barely understood, when fully understood, the same principles that lead to success in a fight lead to success in all areas of life. And there's a lot of truth to this. It's true, man, because you're like, oh, does this hurt? Oh, let me see how does this hurt? Right? That's your negotiations tactics.
I think learning to fight makes you think and view things differently. It makes you realize that, adapting and all that. And, man, if you can succeed in fighting, you can succeed in anything.
You know what? That would be fun to watch you go up and, hey, you should run. I mean, anybody who runs for office, I mean, you learn so much.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to change something, it's going to be tough to get in. But just what you would learn, you can learn from, because you'll learn how the world works from anything. And from business, you won't fall in the same stupid fucking hole you would have walked right into after. And once you learn,
and you never know.
It's all one app. These guys are the biggest employer in the world. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes someone gets in that's not supposed to too. I think they can cheat the elections, but only to a certain amount. They can't if you win by too much, there's only a certain margin they could do.
It's like I always say, like, if someone talks to me about the and it's true, it's the mail-in ballots and the machines, and it is true. But first, I always gonna say, but we gotta talk about that if you're not gonna make it illegal for the news station to announce the winner before the election office. This is where these guys if you're not going to talk about making it illegal for the news station to announce the winner, because the election office, they don't even finish their job when it comes to this day, right?
The news will jump ahead.
Right. That's how they steal the election. They go, the election office, he has a criminal and civil liability. So he passes the ball like this. The news station grabs it, right? And they can say whatever they want. Yeah. And then gotta make the election office do a press conference to announce the winner. The news station can't announce the winner. They gotta be the first to announce the winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, before media had complete control. It is changing a little bit now with our social media, and that's why I started my podcast, because you realize, like, oh, we can actually stand up and fight back against these people, you know? Before we never had this. I mean, until they shut us down, we'll see. But at least for now, we can have to edit certain things, which is ridiculous. Yeah. Topics you can't go on, like, you know, the vaccine. Are you vaccinated?
The truth. No.
I don't know if you can question that anymore. You probably still can't, which is crazy, because now we can look back and see how harmful it was. Before, they're taking people's whole pages down for being like, hey, I think this is harmful.
Right.
You know, they kind of just stopped giving it to people, kind of disappeared.
Yeah. They did just stop. They
just stopped talking about it to be like, oh, you're a yearly coach. I mean, maybe they're still giving them. I don't know, but no one's really taking them anymore.
Who knows? These guys are so smart. They could just give us a little bit, take it back, and just give us misinformation after. These guys are geniuses.
No, they're probably going to try to crack down on the podcast, the Twitters, that type of stuff.
They have to.
Because it's making a big difference. Some of these podcasts are massive and getting way more views than the media companies. So people are
Right.
starting to have different discussions, and it's making them being like, oh shit, we're losing control of the narratives.
But these guys, they're no joke. These guys are no joke.
No, yeah, the people
These
got a
guys are
lot
no
of power.
joke.
No, for sure. They're definitely up
Yeah.
against some powerful people. But I think
They
you
are,
have to have the
man.
mindset of you can win. Otherwise, it's like, you know,
Yep, you
have
gotta
to
have
you have
that.
to fight. And too many
You're
people I think
gonna
are
win.
defeated. I
Yeah.
think too many people just accepted it. Like, oh, we can't beat these people that are controlling and
It's
manipulating
fun
us.
to go up against them once you realize who they are and how powerful and
Yeah, yeah. Actually,
it could be anybody, guy. I mean, guys we know. It is guys. Of course, it is guys we
you know,
know.
a lot of fighters are fighting back, which is interesting. I actually named the podcast "Fight Back," obviously because fighters, but it's because we need to fight back against the
Right.
insanity going on, and so many fighters are
Insanity.
at the forefront of that, which has been. No,
Yeah.
it's cool because like all these other athletes in football and stuff, they were kind of going along with this COVID BS, BLM BS.
Yeah.
But then fighting it got pushed on us, and fighters are just kind of like, nah, we're cool on that for the
Right.
most part. And even the guys that did, do the BLM stuff, they weren't like over preachy about it. Just kind
Yeah,
of,
that's true. That's true.
and the guy, because we're respectful in fighting. Things like Tyrone Woodley and stuff came with the BLM
Guys
fight, but
like
no one was
Eric
like knocking them
Apple.
because
Guys
it's
like
like
Eric Apple. Yeah.
crazy lunatic. Yeah. Speaking of people in Orange County, I was talking to Pat earlier. Used to own Ruka, right?
Oh,
He has
yeah,
his
yeah.
new,
Oh yeah,
his new clothing
Tenori
line.
is
He just
nice.
sent me
It's
this,
pretty
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, he sent me a bunch of his gear.
Yeah,
Awesome
right
guy.
on.
Yeah, he's been in that. Yeah, Pat's
It's
been a good
nice.
friend of yours forever, right?
Yep. That's nice. Tenori, I really respect Pat and support Pat.
No, he's
No
like
doubt.
a loyal guy. I hit him
Over
up,
the
like,
years,
interviewing BJ early, and
I've
he's
been
like,
with him.
awesome, bro. He's my boy. I love that guy. So he's
Right on. Yeah.
and Eric Apple,
PM
total
Tenori.
douchebag, but I love
Eric-
him. I love
Eric
the guy. He's a douchebag. He's a douchebag,
Eric Apple, the main man.
right?
The two guys. Pat and Eric Apple.
We get some character. We get some characters
Yeah,
in the
we
fight
know
world.
exactly what those guys are up to.
Trouble. I gotta stay away from Apple. I'm like, oh, he's trouble.
That's funny. That's
the
funny,
good old
man.
days. So, are you mostly in Hawaii
I
or
am.
Orange County now?
Mostly in Hawaii, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll go back. If I go anywhere, I'll go Vegas, Orange County, Costa Mesa, the same thing with Pat, and then
Yeah, because I know a
Hawaii.
lot. You have
That's
a
my
lot of
3
connections.
spots.
Yeah, that's a 3 because ton of Hawaiians here, plus the fight culture here,
Right.
obviously, and then you're all connected with the roof. You got Apple,
so that's where I
Pat, all
go.
those guys.
Yeah.
That area is nice. Everyone hates in California. I mean, California does suck, but that particular part of California is nice.
Right?
That
It
area-
is
some of the parts
nice.
in Orange
It is
County, like
nice.
I like it out there.
It really is nice.
That-
Hawaii and California, that's why they make the cost of living like that, right?
They
They
want to
catch
drive
you
people
either
out.
way, right? They catch you either way.
Which Vegas is a little cheaper, but even here's not cheap anymore. Especially like the
But over here
restaurants
is
and
nice
stuff.
though.
Yeah,
I like
it's nice.
it. Oh, the restaurants are expensive now.
But the
Oh, yeah.
housing, well, it's a lot cheaper than Hawaii and
Okay.
the area, but it's not like it's gone up quite a bit here too. But here I can have like a. 'Cause I was in New York and San Francisco before, so here I can have like a nice large house. It's not. It's weird getting used to that. Like, oh, I can have backyards. and-
Yeah. Okay, so that's good to hear. So it's still capable over here. You're still okay.
It's reasonable. It's
Okay.
gone way up here, but it's not like Hawaii or San Francisco. So
Okay.
So you grew up in Hilo mostly, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was.
You grew up
It
fighting all the
wasn't.
time, or
It
no?
wasn't. Yeah, I was in like Honolulu. Not a big city. Yeah,
Yeah,
because Honolulu's pretty big actually.
Honolulu's good. Yeah,
Right.
Honolulu's
Yeah, it's
booming.
good size, right?
Yeah, I used to go to Oahu when I visit Hawaii. I only
Yeah.
been to Big Island once, and I drove through
Right.
Hilo. I should have hit you up. I was just
Yeah.
there with an ex. I just
Man.
passed through real quick. But it seems
Yeah.
like a pretty nice little town.
Yeah, it is. It's and then where'd you guys go on Hamakua Coast after that? Were you
I
guys?
was staying on the other
Were you guys
side.
going over
I
the
was staying,
mountains?
like,
You guys
in,
went over the mountain?
I looped the whole island. 'Cause
Okay,
I was
okay.
staying on the opposite side.
Oh, that's
and,
nice. Good for you
Kona.
guys. Yeah, in
Hilo
Kona.
actually seemed nicer than Kona. Kona's kind of dry and stuff.
Yeah.
Hilo's-
Hilo's. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Nate Diaz has
East
gone out and
Coast.
trained with you a couple times.
Yeah. Nate's out there so once in a while.
He was telling me a story. I don't know if I tell a story, but it was not bad. Actually, he took him surfing, and like, it was like crazy waves, and he'd never surfed, and you guys were just hopping it, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, I can't look like a bitch."
Oh man.
But yeah, I never made those little training camps.
Yeah. Good fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, all of that. Geez, just makes me think of just a sabotage squad. They're trying to freaking do a number on Nick, the sabotage squad. If you ask me,
Yeah,
you know,
man.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. talked to Nick in
I
like a
believe
month,
that's
but
Yeah, that would be me right there if they could be doing that to me. That's how they are, man.
No, exactly. As you know,
Right?
you don't know exactly what's going on, but as you know, Nick and Nate are two of the realest, like loyal, like
Yeah.
awesome people. It sucked you had to fight Nick because
Oh, yeah,
Nick being
yeah.
one of my best friends and you being someone ton of
Yeah.
respect of, but Nick Diaz, that was a savage fight.
Man,
That guy's
I just know it's because of all the stuff that I've been through and then running for office and everything. Like, I tell the truth, man, the sabotage squad stuff is real.
Oh,
And they're
yeah,
doing
they're
it to
rough,
all of anybody. UFC guys, I mean, they get pretty often. I think they get it. Somebody just enter the camp and like, here, I'll be doing the weight cutting for the camp,
Yeah,
and they
and try to
fuck
get
that
you
up.
off track, yeah.
And that's no joke. I believe that shit already. I used to think everything was just random interactions. There's some shit's calculated, right?
Right? No, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
More shit. Some shit's random, but a lot of shit's calculated. And
Yeah, a lot of shit's fucking calculated.
yeah.
You're supposed to get your fucking ass kicked tonight. Yeah, no,
Right.
no shit, right?
Yeah, and he's a UFC
Fuck.
legend, one of the UFC legends still
man.
fighting. So
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, well, they're coming. That's what I was talking to Nate the other day. I was like, man, watch out, the fucking sabotage squad's coming for you, Nate. 100%. They're not trying to let you.
he's still going
they're,
strong.
They're not going to
with
let you
UFC, yeah.
fucking go out on top, fucking go out undefeated on top. You think they want that shit? Fuck
Yeah,
no.
because Nate's
That's just the
still
game.
fighting in a current superstar. It's
Yes.
crazy. Or you were at the boxing match with him.
Yeah, with
Masvidal?
yeah, with Masvidal. It was
They didn't
great.
even produce it.
the whole
They hardly
fucking
advertised
place-
it, and they sold it out, and it was like
Unbelievable.
I was worried because they did no advertising for it. I'm like, oh, hopefully they do. I wanna go, and it was
Unbelievable
just
how,
sold out. It was
how much
energy,
it was sold
yeah.
out. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was such a great
Couldn't
fight
believe
too.
how
You know,
it was
and
sold out that much. Yeah, that was unbelievable.
they went at it. You know,
That was unbelievable. Yep.
And
they
they-
really should take their hats off, both of those guys. That was freaking high level.
yeah, I like
right?
Masvidal too. I actually just interviewed
Yeah,
him. But
man.
that's a guy I've always liked, but I never could be friends with him because he was always
He was part of the
feuding with
game.
Nick,
Part of the
Nate,
game.
me, Gil. Not really feuding,
Right.
but we knew he was one of those guys that would scrap if anything go off, and he was on
Yeah.
the opposite side. So I always had to keep a distance. So it
Right,
was
right.
Nice to finally sit down and be like, oh, we can like talk and be friends
Yeah,
now.
yeah. George Masvidal.
He's nuts.
yeah. He is.
Well, I think a lot of us are, but hey.
Yeah.
But so are you watching current fighting anymore or not really?
I saw the highlights of John Jones kick Stipe, but I heard Stipe had his moments in the fight. Did you see
It was
it?
a pretty good fight. I mean,
Yeah.
Jones dominated it for sure, but Stipe had some. It looked
He
like
had
he
a
was
couple
gonna finish
moments.
him.
He could have finished him too.
No, I wouldn't say he could have finished him, but
yeah.
it looked like he was going to get finished the first. And then after that, he came out scrapping again. And
Yeah.
he was throwing some good blows, but John Jones is so hard to hit. He was going forward.
He's
He
so
hit him a
tall.
few times, but it's just hard landing on him. Yeah, he parries
Do
well.
you think
so
Pereira
tall.
got any chance at all?
I mean, I'm not going to say he doesn't, but I'm definitely picking Jones.
I know.
think he
right?
takes him down. And
I
just
know. Yeah.
elbows
He
him
can
in the
take down
face.
anybody, Jones.
I
Right?
think it's a
Jones?
bad matchup for Pereira.
Right? Jones can take down anyone. That's the thing. Right? I mean, he's so freaking long with his long arms.
Well, imagine him too. Even from guard, he can elbow you, and he has like I'm sure we'd be fine training jiu-jitsu with him.
That's
But
like his
imagine you throw those
punch.
elbows in
That's
with
like a
Jones on top
punch.
of you. Yeah, he's just like
It's just like a
turns.
punch like that. Yeah, he can hit you with his elbow.
Yeah, no, he's so talented. There's him and that Tom Aspinall they're talking about. I think that'd be an interesting fight. But a lot of people are really hyping that guy. I haven't watched him fight enough. But I think
Aspinall,
Jones
he's
is
the one
just-
who beat the Russian guy, huh?
He's good. I just only watched a
Yeah.
couple of his fights and didn't know much about the guys he was fighting. So I just think Jones is hard to bet against in my opinion.
Right? Hard to bet against. And
So there's no like up and coming fighters you're really watching, just kind of casually here and there.
yeah. I haven't been as much into. I just been thinking about the MMA for self defense while I was involved with the politics.
Right?
I
Dude's
stay
gonna
away
run up
from the
on you,
windows
yeah.
at night. Yeah, for real. But it's good fun. I mean,
Yeah.
It is. I mean, geez, I've had every single thing thrown at me this last 2 years. I'm not talking just in the public or anything. Just stuff this in life, just thrown at me nonstop. I fucking still standing.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Still standing. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
right.
it was good fun. Like, but just crazy stuff. Stuff you're like, huh?
I'm sure they don't want you to be
Just like
when you
you're
start
just
running for
scratching your
governor and
head
stuff.
like
They're
this.
like they don't want this guy.
Man, I wonder what they think sometimes is, but it's been fun though.
Yeah.
Man, wait, talk about what a great teacher as far as them, what I learned from them. I mean, they taught me, they taught me everything. Like this last few years, I mean, they taught me how to win an election. They taught me how to
Yeah, right.
everything that's going. Man, I just can't believe how much I know and like how much it can relate to business and everything. Yep. Run for office if you want to know what's going on. You want to get good at
learning the world and how it works.
Yeah, you want to learn how the world works. You want to learn how your country works, your state works, and you want to learn how business works.
And you want to try to fix the country.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The quote that would stop me all the time was, "Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves." And I'll think that and be like, "Fuck."
That's interesting.
That's
right?
a good one, right? Everybody wants to change the world, but nobody wants to change themselves, and that's what makes life hard, right
There's
there.
a lot of work to change yourself. Even when you know you have a bad habit, you're like, oh man, how am I going to fix that?
Right? You don't want to look at yourself. You just want to look over there.
Yeah, pretend like it's not a pretend like it's not a problem or something. We've all been there.
Crazy, right?
Right.
Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Do you find you miss fighting a lot, or have you gotten accepted it? Walking away is hard. The first year I stopped fighting was tough, man. Like now I've adjusted, but it's tough. Our whole identity is fighting. Exactly.
Right.
We're still. It's like who we are. You know?
Right.
So walking away was tough.
Well, I always like when we said when fully understood, the same principles that lead to success in a fight lead to all success in all areas of life, and very few fights are fought with their fists. It's all right here, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, you just jump on the next. You just jump on the next horse. Fuck right there. Fuck it. Boom.
Yeah.
See where that fucker goes. Maybe you'll jump off. Maybe you'll stay on.
Yeah, I think for us, because we're so like laser focused on fighting, we have to get like another project or something. Otherwise, you start going crazy, and that's what athletes don't do because their life is like you jumped in. Oh, I'm run for governor. I'm gonna do this.
Different fight.
You have to get absorbed in stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna start a podcast.
I don't even think about it now. The fighting, like, never know what the future holds. I mean, you see guys fighting at 58. You know what I mean? Never know what the future holds, but. Right now, I'm not thinking about it at all.
It'd be cool if the UFC did more of like putting two guys in their 40s against each other and stuff. They don't do that. They try to eat up their like older stars.
Well, kind of like it's like I don't care who was the best at 30. I want to find out who the fucking best is at 65, motherfucker.
So they should do a few of these fights. Like the UFC does it. Like guys like you Rampage, the Liddells, just like the OGs of the sport. Let them fight occasionally.
Fuck, man.
Like even Tyson jumped in against a guy in his 20s, and
that's interesting.
I think it makes more sense to have guys fighting a little older. Like, that's why I never said I retired. It's like I would maybe hop in for I'm not trying to win any world titles anymore. I know
my mind's doing too much work. It's just too much work.
Fucking laser focused. You just got to be your whole life to win a world title.
And you have your time too, and that's your time. Your time, nothing.
Yeah.
Your timing, nothing can beat your timing.
Yeah.
Right? It's power. Speed beats power. Timing beats everything in all areas.
Yeah.
In age, in punching and kicking and takedowns and everything. Right?
Plus, you get distracted. Imagine when you were winning world titles, you were laser focused. I bet your whole life was probably consumed.
And the sabotage squad comes in.
You get distracted, or you're fighting for the money, or you're fighting because you're supposed to, and you're like, wait, I'm gonna get hurt if I'm fighting for the money.
It's all of it. It's all of it combined. Yeah. All of the fucking the truth of it.
That's why it's rare to see a guy hold a streak. So I mean, that's impressive. Guys like like John Jones, a good example, who's managed to
GSP, Jones,
these guys that have done these crazy runs. I mean, we both fought GSP.
He's even real or what? That fucking guy.
Oh,
sorry.
It's
even real, that fucking guy.
Yeah, GSP.
Where the fuck is he?
He's actually someone after we ended up becoming friends, and like I said, he's a little different, but I like the guy. He's unique, but he still trains all the time, still in shape.
That's crazy, huh?
He could still beat a lot of top guys, I think. He just doesn't want to risk his legacy.
His legacy, yeah.
He was trying to fight Khabib.
Okay,
Khabib was trying to fight him before he retired.
I think, right?
I know them both. But
just whoever's hungrier. Whoever's hungrier,
exactly. That's why it's hard to call that.
Yeah, it's hard to call where that would leave them in history or whatever. But
too bad Dana didn't do that for Khabib's last fight. For both those guys, that just would have been like a legend. Maybe it's not too late for those guys to come out of retirement and fight each other. Like, how awesome would that be?
I would watch.
But they both have a lot to lose too.
Right. But that's what fighting's about.
That's true. And those guys
are
the two of the biggest stars ever that went out on top. So
not supposed to be a pussy.
Yeah, before we wrapped up, anything you got else want to talk about? Anything you want to plug? What do you got going? You have your website, right?
Yeah. Well, just want to say good luck to everybody coming up this next year. Have a great Christmas and a great holidays. My favorite time of the year, holidays.
yeah.
So I want to thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you,
not sure
Jake.
if I'll get this out before Christmas or not. So if not, guys, that means we recorded this a little earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Jake.
Cool.
For
Thanks
real.
so much, BJ.
Yes, sir.